different. It has to be unique. I find I'm different. I'm unique. Why would I want a house like Joe Schmo down the block? Home, if you build it creatively, is part of the definition of who you are. You need a big house, you need to show off, you need to have a bunch of things, or just live a simple life, because who you are inside doesn't need all those things, nor is it dependent upon the opinion of those who choose to live differently. If you want to live differently, but I choose to live a simple life, and I've found at 60 years old, I'm happier and healthier than I've ever been. When you get a tiny house, A, you can't keep a lot of stuff, but B, what you do keep, you value. You prize it. It teaches you what's important. Maybe putting it in your small house. Doesn't have to be tiny, you can have a small cottage. Or you can have 85,000 square feet of warehouses like I do and still not know why you don't have enough room. Don't have enough room. I've accumulated enough materials to build 100 of the houses like you see in the village so far. The words are all screwed up. What is green? Green to me is I take it down, I pull the nails out of it, I put it back together and make a house. I didn't recycle, I didn't use a bunch of energy, I didn't send it off to China and bring it back in another form because I sold it to them for $100 a 1,000 pounds and got 84 toys out of it that they made and fabricated and sent back. It's recycled. No, this is take it down, reuse it. Now, if you can do that, that's the least amount of energy consumed, and it gives you the longest, best return because it's going to last longer than anything I can buy new will. I don't want to use more energy. I want to demonstrate how little, not only how little I can use, how much I can bank. And what does it mean to bank it? Well, it means that if I take this piece of 1890, 1900 circa Hearst headlight with a little piece of red glass on the side, and I reuse this and make a little lamp out of it, I don't have to heat it or find it or smelt it, all the material that's used on it. I don't have to fabricate it with human energy. I don't have to heat the buildings that they fabricated it in. I don't have to ship it across the country. I don't have to pay for a store to sell it in. All those are different types of energy I'm saving, whether it's human energy or otherwise. These I got off of an old 1950s house. I thought they were the ugliest posts I'd ever seen in my entire life, and I couldn't imagine ever using them. They have squared in the beginning. I chopped them off and made them angled, and they were squared. And not only did I not see them well, when I went to use them, I realized they were all hand cut on a lathe, turned rather, single pieces of redwood. And if you look at them, no ball is exactly the same, no part is the same, and then this box on this side is different size than the box on the other side of that. And it turned out of 7 of them, I didn't have 2 of them that matched. But when I went to try to figure out what I was going to put on my porch, and I went through my entire post collection, and I have quite a few, I ended up with these. I got something really weird, really bizarre, really different on my, wow, I can't believe I'm using the ugliest things I ever got in my life, and they're going to be part of my house. But everything in its place. And so the idea is when you design organically, you use things that all of a sudden come to you. It's like, wow, that's going to fit. That's going to look cool to me. Who do I really want to please? Well, let's see, it's my house. That would be me. What's trash to one person is treasure to another. There's some things about salvage you need to know. And I put out a salvage series that addresses this on how to become a salvage miner. It's a 4-hour series that addresses a lot of these issues, because if you're going to go out and tear stuff down, you don't want to tear down the wrong stuff, you're wasting a lot of time and energy. I've done all those. I've learned all that. I'd like to see people do this more efficiently. And I was about 35, I think, when I began realizing I didn't have enough life left to keep making all the mistakes myself first, that I might want to start taking some advice. It takes another 10 years to get out of believing you're totally right most of the time. So by my 40s, I was actually starting to take advice. And, you know, life is strange. It teaches you a lot of things, the big smackdowns you never expect. But for me, ultimately, losing my son was a smackdown I didn't expect. Then you go ahead and look at things a lot different. if and when was to look at things from a standpoint of I've got all the playing cards, I got the big box stores, I got the lenders, I got the insurance, I kind of control code to write it, force you to buy my product, I happen to like importing a lot of it, and energy be damned when it comes down to how much energy it takes to manifest your house, all the energy it took to make your new glass or make your new plastic and all those toxins and vinyl. Oh, we don't consider that. We consider the time you move in. It's energy efficient from that point forward. Wait a minute. What if it took so much energy to make it that you actually use more energy to make it than you're going to use, and the whole time it's going to be good before the built-in obsolescence kicks in and the windows fog up and the vinyl dries out, which is an oil-based product, and all these other things happen that are going to force you to put more chemicals back into your teeny tiny environment. Oh, don't worry about that. Who knows what it'll be like? 10, 12 years, 15 years. All this thought process that goes into how we build things in this day and age. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. Wow, that's long life. No. 100 years, 130 years, these houses were around before I took them down. Materials are better than they were then. They're harder. The sap is cured. It's now crystallized sap in the floors. Bugs won't touch it. Termites won't eat it. Miracle Mountain in the distance that you see, that's supposed to be sort of a Fibonacci spiral going up to the top, which kind of represents Ohm. And from that point, that's the highest point from here to the Gulf of Mexico. Because we're on about a 410 feet or so. In fact, when I get up there, I need to check and just see, but suppose they're about maybe 450. But 30 miles from here is Flatonia. It's a town named because after that it goes flat for the next 120 miles to Houston. You don't get over 100 feet high. So that's not very high. So 450 feet sounds really high that way, so I'm really high up. Anyway, the idea behind this, though, is we capture all this water because in Texas they're trying to outlaw capturing rainwater like they have in other states. And so anything dug before that happens is going to be grandfathered in. Guess what? I'm going to dig as many holes as I can. And the beauty about it is when you dig holes in clay, they hold water a lot better than when you dig holes in rock and gravel. I always like the view from up here because when you hit it just right with the camera, it almost looks like I'm actually holding one of these little houses in my hand. Like I can just pick them up and move. Let's put that one over there instead. Let's pick that one up and move him over here. But that's what it amounts to. They're that tiny. By anybody else's terms, these are not tiny houses in any country but America. These are not tiny houses. These are luxury residences in most of the world. Go to London, go to New York City and get that much space for the price you're going to pay for it and stick it out on a country lot. You get $45,000 in that in New York City, $45,000 wouldn't buy you the front doormat space to stand on in front of a building. Parking costs more than that a year. Caught up in the American dream. You're working all the time. You're paying for the insurance, you're paying for the taxes, you're paying for the house, and the interest on the house, and by the time you're done, the daycare center, because you can't be around there because you both are working, and then you're paying for all this extra money because you're buying food out all the time because you can't be home to eat together. And next thing you know, you ain't got any money there, and then cell phones and the cable, and wow, how did anybody survive without two jobs in the old days? Oh, we didn't have the TV. Oh, we didn't have cable. We were home together with our children. Oh my goodness, the woman was raising the children and teaching them more at home and helping them with their homework. Oh my goodness, oh yeah, how long ago was that now? 60 years ago, 65 years ago. My generation, the spoiled, entitled generation, they got everything we wanted, all the big houses, all the big cars, all the loans we could never pay for in an entire lifetime. We're proving it. 60% of the 55-year-olds in this country have $25,000 saved for their retirement. 25 grand. Won't buy you a car, let alone fix a broken ankle if it gets splintered. Once we learn to downsize our expectations, you live so much happier. all these things we look at is how do we survive if something happened and we went down, just as a precautionary element. How do we survive? Well, we're going to be able to take care of ourselves. We're going to have a little bit of water on hand. We're going to have a little food, or somebody can grow it, because it ain't going to be me. It's extendable based on where you hold it. The idea is you get people that can plant and have that knack. If we get them, we're in good shape. What that does is it gives us the expertise of the people who have the energy to grow things. Now, what else do we need? We need people that have a knack for talking and sharing and teaching, because they can learn this and teach it to others. They may not be the best at doing it, but they know how to teach. That's a science in itself. In my example of how do you build a tiny village, you have one house, another one behind the trees, 2 houses, 3 houses, 4 houses, 5 houses, for example. We had a 6th one over there, it's not there right now. But those 5 houses all together, 200, 370, 450, 550, 650, 690, 750 square feet of downstairs living space. Out of that 750 square feet, the only one there's 2 of them that would pass as 240 square feet would be questionable as portable buildings if you use a lot of cities use 200 square foot as a portable building class. Some go 250, some go 170. But portable building hinges on the local definition, legal definition. But from tax purposes standpoint, that's just a storage building. That's just an out shed or storage building over there, the kid. Even the one Victorian 170, that's just a storage building, portable building. So they might tag 2 of those. So there might be 480 square foot taxable. And that's not counting the lofts. Well, the lofts add another 100, 200, 300, 400 square feet, which is almost as much as you're being taxed on. And there's 300 you're not being taxed on. So the ability is to go ahead and have a compound, have people live separately from each other, yet have a place to get together in the middle of it and eat. And do that all on less than an acre. Still have plenty of room to put gardens and stuff. The idea behind this is to create a permaculture environment where we can actually have the water, have the trees, have the wildlife, and mix people in without killing it all. In this case, there wasn't any water, we couldn't have the permaculture. Now we have water collection. We changed the look of the land and we made it rich, because water to land is gold. Grass grows, birds play, frogs are here, turtles are here. I have cardinals year round. We got grapes growing all over the trees, blackberries. Now, if we can do this to a relatively desolate spot, and then do it in another desolate spot, another desolate spot, another desolate spot, after a while you're going to start having a lot of nice little islands in the storm, little oases where people can get together, raise their children, not make a big imprint, not use a lot of energy, grow a lot of food naturally, and have a market where they can barter and exchange this for other things they need, and get together with other people like-minded in other communities. The market is your form of income for a community. So all these can be happening with what we have in place in this country right now. Just salvage. You can build the tiny houses, you can build the village with it, you can build the market with it, you can build the infrastructure with it. So the example that I'm trying to build here is a model. Nothing more than a model of what we can do. And it's up to everybody else to decide if that's what we want to do. Or do we just want to keep doing what we're doing? I didn't. I switched. I changed. And I believe a lot of others will. And that's what my generation's been doing. They've been putting everything off on the next guy. Unfortunately, you guys are the next guys. like I say, it's going to be a model. It's not going to be a model community of how everybody would live together if you didn't have a bunch of tourists coming around, or you didn't have a bunch of events and stuff like that. But if you're going to build something on that basis, this shows you what to expect. On a major highway, if we had to trade, you need spots like this. Yeah, maybe you want to live a couple miles in another little village where it's remote. You don't have all the traffic. You don't have all the strangers coming through. That's cool. It's biking distance. You just bike a mile over here and you're at your work over at the market, or you're at your work over there helping build some houses. Doing that, we can have little pockets, rural pockets, all linked to one little marketplace, and rebuild in the same fashion that we built the country in the first place. Except we don't have to go down and cut all the trees down again. Oh gee, they're all here waiting for us to use again. Oh, we don't have to make windows again. Oh yeah, they're all here. Oh gee, we got doors. Oh gee, we got flooring, siding. What do we really need? Some saws, some saw blades, some nails, some screws. Yeah, we need a few things. After that, we can build a whole village out of just trash. And at about 10 or 12 houses, we'll have used an acre of land. And the whole footprint of all the houses won't be 1,500 square foot. So normally our McMansion is 4,000 square foot and it eats up 10% of an acre. We'll be able to pull them all out there and we'll eat less up than a McMansion that will house one family. In theory, you're going to have a number of different people. In theory. You just got to find a bunch of people that can get along with each other and help do the work and share equitably and not have people get greedy and want to run it all and own it all and control it all. And all the problems we have in our society today that make it difficult to form these communities that we want to have. Everybody wants to have all the benefits, but they don't want to live with other people and make sacrifices. And unfortunately, if we're going to make this work, we got to make it work together, because nobody can do this all by ourselves.
I've got a lot of the new old stock screws and springs.
But we let you go ahead and build with salvage lumber if you want. Oh, I want to build a tiny house. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. Inside the city limits, you can't build a tiny house on a city lot because it's only 200 square feet. And oh, you want to be off? No, you can't be off grid. Oh, no, you can't plant all that stuff. No. What do you mean? Well, we can't make enough money off you to pay for the system. If you have a 200 square foot house on that big ass lot and grow a bunch of stuff, you're not using any utilities. But how are we supposed to make any money to pay for the grid? What are we going to do? We better be able to survive without importing a lot of stuff. Ergo, building materials already in our country, already prepared for us. We better be able to do it without a lot of energy, because we're not going to be converting fuel into products. This is not a solution in the city, I'm sorry. This does not work in the big city. You can't stack tiny little houses and make apartment buildings out of them. You can't get the density of population that they want. This works in the country. So the question at this point is, in my mind, how fast can a young couple like you move to change your world? And if you change your world, can you, in one generation, rear a generation that says, you didn't build with salvage? You didn't do nothing to save the planet? You just wasted all that stuff to build you a house? And how? Why? Why? That needs to be the question. Why did you build a 6,000 square foot house for two of you to live in? Out of all new materials. 5% of our population has used up 30% of the world's resources now. 50% of our landfills are building materials. We're running out of landfills. What does that tell you? It tells you that we're the most wasteful society on the planet in the entire length of history of the planet. And we're the ones out there talking high and mighty about saving the planet when most of us won't make the sacrifices it takes to use salvage to build out of, or to do the work it takes to make the salvage happen, or to change the laws so that you can use salvage to build with. Again, we can do better. Now, will this movement take off and everybody do it? No way. Will the idea of moving into organic cottages catch on? Yes. Will it catch on with a lot of people? Absolutely, because we've got the evidence out there now. If you can't replenish the resources, why throw them away? They are irreplaceable. We use that in terms of jewelry. We use that in terms of art. It's irreplaceable. So is the treasure our ancestors left to your generation through my generation. But just like most of the rich, when you have all the resources and all the wealth, the next couple generations squander it, disrespect it, don't appreciate what we have. We've now done that with our resources. We're out of big mines in our country. We're out of resources in many ways, even getting down to water. We could all downsize in a way that would leave a legacy instead of one big black hole these kids can't fill back up again. We have that chance. The legacy is we preserve what was gifted to us by our great-grandparents in the form of old houses, barns, and buildings. And that legacy is a treasure, and it's a treasure of resources we'll never find again. If we can go ahead and get that stashed away in all the empty buildings left behind by all the industry that moved overseas, take them back through eminent domain, I don't care how we get them back, but let's use them and fill them up with valuable resources instead of putting it in the dump. Those will be gold mines full of resources that would be able to be used to build a generation of housing. If we do that now, it's free. They're throwing it away. Smart money would be, let's save what we got. Let's put it in all these empty buildings. Let's go ahead and give these kids jobs. Let's go ahead and pay some of that. If we're gonna go spend money, let's not buy a $1 million bomb. Let's go take $1 million and spend it on tearing down a bunch of houses and put them in warehouses. And creating housing for the homeless or all those GIs that are coming back. They got no place to go. Or the 6 women on the street out of every 10 that live there homeless that are veterans. They got no home. Let's put that money to use and go out and give them jobs salvaging, tearing down stuff, and building stuff, a new life. Let's give them hope. Out of salvage, out of trash, hope for a home. These are the things we need to be concentrating on right now, and we can do it all with trash.
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Patreon for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.